Alright, so in this video I'll be talking about schedules, right, and solving a problem, illustrating how to perform a few computations, such as what the delays are for different processes, and of course if I do delay for each, I'll also do the overall average. I'll also do turnaround time, and I'll do the average turnaround time as well. Right. So these are the statistics I will be looking at. Right. And I'll be looking at a few types of schedules. Right. I'll start with the simplest, the shortest job first. Sorry, first come, first served. That's the easiest to work with. I'll also look at shortest job first, and I'll also look at round robin. Right. So let's look at first come, first served. So this is a schedule with a few jobs. So we have ambulance, transport, weather, transport, ambulance coming in at different times. So if it's a first come, first served, right, so I have the ambulance for 1, transport 2, weather 4, transport 3, ambulance 2. All right, so at 12, ambulance 1, okay, so the times when they're supposed to come in, this guy comes in at 12, this guy comes in at 12:05, 12:06, 12:10, and 12:11, right? So at 12, the first comes in, right, and ambulance 1 runs for 8 minutes. So at 12:08, all ambulance 1. Since it's first come, first served, the next person to be picked would be the next person on the line, which is 12:05. It's the next person to go. And so from 12:08 until that's 12 minutes later, until 12:20. Right, that one runs. Meanwhile, at 12:06, someone else had come in. That's W4, weather for 4, runs for 5. So that would be 12:25. And transport 3 runs for 10. So that's 12:35. And finally, 12:39. Right. Now there are delays, so let's look at the various delays. Right. So there is no delay for this one, but T2, that's transport 2, came in at 12:05. So there is a delay of 5 minutes. This guy came in at, so this is 12:05. It was supposed to start, didn't get to start. Someone came in a minute later. So from 12:06, sorry, this delay 12:05 to 12:08 is actually 3 minutes. Sorry, there's a 3-minute delay over there. So from 12:06 to 12:20, there's a delay of 14 minutes. Right. At 12:10, T3 transport 3 came in, but it only got to run at 12:25. So the delay here is 15 minutes. Right, so that's all delay. And at 12:11, someone came in. So ambulance 2 came in, and So from 12:11 till 12:38, there are 29 minutes. Right. So the average delay is 3 plus, sorry, there's 0 as well. Sorry, 0, 3, because it's 12:05 to 12:08 when it gets to run. 14 because it's 12:06 but gets to run at 12:20. 15 because it's from 12:10 but gets to run at 12:25, and 28 divided by the number of processes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the answer, 60 divided by 5 is 12. So let me just double check. Okay, 17 plus 15. All right. So that is my average delay. What about turnaround time? How much time does it take from when a process plans to start till when it ends? Right. So turnaround time, the first one runs for, well, including the delay, is 8. So 3 plus the amount of time it got to run. The first one, that's 12 minutes plus 3. Turnaround time here is 15. So 15 is, so the greens are the turnaround times. Right. This one run a total of 9, well, from the delay till when it finished, 19 minutes. This is 15 plus 10, so total time it's running here, 25 minutes. This guy 28 plus 4, so all of this is 32 minutes. Right. So the turnaround time, the average, eight, 15, 19, 25, 32. It's 99 divided by 5. 19.8. Right. So let's just double check. So 12 till 8, that's 8 minutes. 12:05 but finishes at 12:20, that's 15 minutes. Turn around. 12:06 till 12:25, that's 19 minutes. 12:10 finishing at 12:35, that's 25 minutes. 12:11 finishing at 12:39. I think I might have made a mistake here. Okay. Okay, I think the delay here might not be right. Yeah, this is not correct. So from 35 to 11, that delay, so that's a good catch, right? So the delay here should have been 24, not 28. Right, okay, so that's a good catch. Right, because from 11 till 39, there is 28, sorry, 28 minutes. Of course, this is 24 minutes plus 4. So, sorry for that. So, this should be... brain not working. 28. Just making corrections. Alright, so correction made. So average delay should be 11.2. Right, and average turnaround, let's just double check to be sure. Should be 95. Divided by 5. 19. Alright. So let's just double check everything. Right. So runs for 8, 0 delay. Right. This one runs from 12, 5, 20. That's running for a total of 15 with a 3-minute delay. This one runs from 12:06 to 12:25. That's 19 minutes running, but there is a 14-minute delay because it's from 12:06 till 12:20 when it gets to run. The next one is in at 12:10 but finishes at 12:35. Runs total turnaround is 25. Right, but there is a 15-minute delay. Right, so there is a delay for 15 minutes. And finally, the last one runs from, there's a delay of 24 minutes because in at 12:11, gets to run at 12:35, but finishes at 12:39. 39 minus 11 is 28, but there's a delay of 24. Alright, so that's the first one. Now let's take a look at so this was first come first served. Let's see shortest job first. So the strategy here is to always pick the shortest job available. T2, W4, T3. Alright, so this one is in at 12. This will be ready at 12:05, 12:06, 12:20, 12:10, 12:11. This one is planning to go for 11, 12, 5, 10, 4. So let's start the timer. At 12 o'clock, At 12 o'clock, the only person that's ready is A1. Right. Now, there are two ways to work this. One is with preemption and no preemption. When we say we are going to allow preemption, so preempt, that means we are going to allow stopping one person to run another. Right. So there are those two modes. But for this one, we'll just do no preemption. That means we will not stop someone from running. Once they run, we'll just let them finish. But when we are running the next one, we have to pick the shortest job. So it's always a good question to ask, are we going to be preempting processes or not preempting? Preempting means if someone is ready to run and has higher priority, for example, due to their schedule, this is the shortest job first. If we say with preemption, that means if someone with a shorter job comes, they can kick you off and run. Right. Now, let's do this with no preemption. So let's do no preemption, meaning let's run you till you are finished. All right. So let's do the first. At 12, A1 is ready. It's going to run for 8 minutes. There isn't that much space here, so I'm going to squish things a bit. Right. So from 12 to 12:08, A1 finishes. Now, watch, by 12:05, T2 is in. At 12:06, W4 is in. So by 12:08, there are two people in contention. Right. Remember, T3 hasn't arrived yet. We are expecting it to arrive at 12:10. But now we are looking at 12:08, when this has finished, who gets to run. And we only consider those people who have been waiting for a while. Right. So the two people that are waiting, one person has a shorter job, and that is 12:06. Right. So the person who came in then came with a shorter job. So even though T2 came before, we are not picking shortest job. We are not picking a first come first served. It's about the shortest job, and the shortest job is 5. So this one gets to run for 5. So at 12:13, it's finished running. Right. That's for 5. And when it finishes running, right, at the point when it finishes, there are now two questions to ask. Who are the others who are ready to run at 12:13? Remember, A2 comes in at 12:11. Right. So at 12:13, T2 was waiting, T3 came to wait, and A2 came to wait as well. So now there are 3 jobs in contention, and of the 3, the shortest is A2, who's going to run for 4 minutes. So until 12:17, that one gets to run. Right. Now, when it's finished running, we go through the same process. Who gets to run? There is T3 and T2. Of course, T3 has 10 minutes of time to run and 12. So we are going to let T3 run for its 12, and that means it would finish at 12:29. And finally, when I finish at 12:29, I'll then look at who else. So at that point, there's only one other person who's coming to run, and that is T2. Oh, sorry, this is supposed to be for 10, so it should be 27. That's 10 here, So from 12:17 to 10:27. 12 was actually this one. So he would run from 12:27. 12 minutes later, it'll be 12:39. Right. So I've run each of them. So let's look at the delays. Delay here is 0. Now for the second one, it came in at 12:05, but got to run at 12:27, and the delay there is 22 minutes. Trying to get a new color I've never used before. So 0-minute delay. So I'm going to use purple for the delay. So 0 for that one. This from 12:05 to 12:27, delay there is 22 minutes. What about this one? 12:06 till 12:08, delay there is 2 minutes. Someone came in at 12:10, gets to run at here 12:17, so delay there is 7 minutes. This one came in at 12:11, gets to run at 12:13, delay there is 2 minutes. So the average delay 0, 22, 2, 7, 2. Okay, let me just check to be sure doing the right thing. 2, 7, 2. Right, 33 divided by 5, 6.6. Right. What about turnaround time? The average turnaround time. Right. So first one came in at 12, finished at 12:08, so it's 8. This one came in at 12:05, finished at 12:39, and that is 34 minutes in total. Right, from 06 to 12:13. That's 7. Right, so from 10 to 27, this is for 7 minutes. This is 17. And 12:11 till 12:17, that's 6. So all of this, so 8, 34, 7, 17, 66 divided by 5. That's 13.2, the average time for turnaround. So if you compare simply going first come first served, 11.2, but by going shortest job first, we've brought it down to 6.6. Turnaround time was 19. By going shortest job first, we've brought it down to 13.2. How about round robin? Right. So the idea with round robin is to give everybody a fixed amount of time to run. So that means sort of like musical chairs, but you get to run, then the next person, right? But even with round robin, the question does arise, who gets to run next? But usually of the pool of those running, you just pick the next person in the queue. So ambulance 1, transport 2, weather 4, transport 3, ambulance 2. Okay, so we are going to pick a number. So usually you should ask, what's the amount of time each person gets to run in round robin? So I'd say, okay, maximum is, in this case, so I'm going to use 2 minutes as the unit of time you're allowed to run for. Right. Round robin is fun to do. Alright, so let's start. Someone comes in at 12, someone comes in at 12:05, next person at 12:06, next person at 12:10, and next person at 12:11. So at check off, at 12, A1 comes in and runs for 2 minutes only. So at 12:02, we stop him, but he's run for only 2 minutes. That means he has 6 minutes remaining. So at this point, it's done 2 out of 8. Right. Then we're going to run. So at 12:02, is there anyone who gets to run? Right. No one else is in. We're expecting T2 at 12:05. So he gets to go again because there's nobody. Right. So by the next time he finishes, he's done half of his work. But by that time, it's 12:04. Right. Then again, we run for another 2 units. At 12:06, he's finished his 2 units. Right. By the time he finishes the 2 units, someone else was in at 12:05. And of course, at 12:06, there is also someone who is ready to go. Right, so there are 2. So we are just going to what? Of these 3 that are currently in our ready list, this AM1 just finished running. So we are going to pick AM2, next person. And that one is going to run for 2 minutes. So at 12:08, he's done 2 out of 12 of his work. Right. At 12:06, that means we run the next person. He does 2 out of 5 of the work. And by that time, it's 12:10. And that's when, of course, we have a new person arriving at 12:10. And that's T3. Right. And since he's ready by that time, we're going to let him have the 2 units. And he had 10 in all, so he's run for 2 out of 10. And that means I'm now up to 12:12. Right. But while I ended, someone else came in at 12:11. A2 came in. Of course, so he's ready. And since I'm just following along, doing my round robin, I run the next person who's going to go and do 2 out of 4. Right, and so you repeat. So AM1 comes in to finish off 8/8 and finishes at 12:16. Right, and then we run the next person at 12:18. At 12:20, we would have done 4/5. This guy's work. 22. At 24, we'll do. Right. So the first person to finish is A2. So in a way, round robin has a fair feeling to it because it tries to give everyone an amount of time. If you are optimizing a system, then the variable you want to play with is how much time does every person get to run once they are running. The larger it is, the more closer it starts to look like a first come first served. But so it has some nice properties. You can sort of mix it up. If you make it very small, then everyone who comes gets to do a little bit of work. So it sort of spreads it out evenly as to how everybody gets delayed. So the shorter you are, well, you finish quickly. But it also depends on how many people are in the queue. So if you take A2 waited for everyone else to run before he got his turn. But he gets another turn and then sort of gets some response. And if he finishes quickly, he can get it done. Right. So AM1 would have finished running, but because there were other people in the queue who kept coming, he actually had to delay for a bit. Right. So you can finish this one off. Right. So again, even with round robin, the question becomes, should you have preemption or no preemption? For example, note that T2, so these are just issues. I just kept it simple round robin. There was no preemption. So you run. Well, there's preemption in the sense that it's round robin, so you only get to run for a period of time. You're stopped. But once someone is given a unit, we don't take it away from them. But a variation of this would be if someone comes in at, for example, 12-2 came in, should AM1 have been preempted since it had already gone 2 or 3 times? These are design questions. Right. In real life, maybe. Of course, he's been running for so long, being the only one, maybe you should preempt. Right. So this is what round robin looks like. And you can finish it off, do the same thing. Right. Now, previously in the first one, for first come, first served, it seemed like everyone was going to get to run eventually. So this was very nice. But if you looked at shortest job first, one of the things you'd have noticed was it seemed that because T2 came very early, 12, and other people had shorter jobs, the others would have kept going. So long as jobs kept coming, if there were more and more jobs with shorter times, 3, 2, 1, all shorter times than 12, even 11, they would all get to run. And these, that's one of the problems with just having a fixed strategy. Right. So sometimes you may have to have some way to adjust. And in the text, well, not just in the text, but one of the strategies to prevent starvation. So starvation is where a process has come ready to run, but because of the schedule, so T2 has come ready to run, but because of the schedule, the policy of the schedule, it seems that having such a high, a large amount of time it wants to use for the job, everyone who is shorter keeps sort of overstepping it. When that happens, it can lead to starvation. The solution to that is aging, meaning you should change the priority of the job who is getting starved. The job or process that's getting starved. Right. So it means even though this guy came in and it's 12, over time I shouldn't just always look at it as it's 12. Maybe I should say, okay, well, after every 5 minutes, I'll assume you are 10. After every 5 minutes, I'll assume you are 8. So I'll keep sort of aging it, sort of changing the priority. So for any schedule, there's something that you're using to pick. If it's first come, first served, it's the time. If it's shortest job first, it's the length of the job. How short is it? Right. So if someone is getting starved, then you want to modulate or attenuate or change that value so that he would also eventually get to run. Of course, round robin doesn't have that issue with starvation because round robin is going to make sure everybody gets to run. Of course, I think the only thing you might have to worry about is what if someone keeps appearing the next time. But round robin, so long as the jobs do end, eventually it's going to come back and everyone is going to finish. Right? So round robin just keeps on in a cycle. So you can just keep it. Well, whoever was in the queue gets to go, and the next, and the next, and the next, and so on. Right? So you just have to have some strategy. So starvation is an issue. Alright, so we've now discussed with this one different types of schedules. We've seen some statistics, first come first served as the types, shortest job first, round robin. We also talked about design issues. Do we allow preemption? Right. Preemption means, do we stop someone from running and schedule someone else? Right. So that is a good question. We also talked about how do we deal with starvation. Right. So how we deal with starvation. Right. Is another issue. Right. Now, since different schedules have different benefits, over time, when we are designing a system, we don't always need to use strictly shortest job first, first come, first served, or even priority. Priority scheduling, usually you assign a priority that someone is maybe high priority, medium priority, low priority, and when you are picking, you pick whoever has the highest priority. So you can do that. But there are also hybrid approaches. Hybrid approaches means you can have 2 or 3 different types of queues. For example, in some operating systems, you could have a system queue, you could have a user interface queue, right? So that system processes, maybe the file system, networking, security, a lot of things that have to do with the system directly run on a system queue, right? And those who are in UI could be maybe things that you're working with, maybe your word processor could be joining that queue, your spreadsheet could join that queue, your web browser could join that queue. So you could have 2 or 3 different types of queues and run different schedules on the different queues, right? So you could say, okay, for my system queue, this could be run with the shortest job first, while for the user interface, I'll be doing first come, first served, right? So those are possible. And in design as well, people could also even have changing, moving a process from one queue to the other. So for example, should the security queue be moved to the UI queue? So in real time, you could have more than one queue running different schedules so that you could pick and mix, right? So those are things that can be done. So hopefully with this, you've seen some of the issues, how to perform the computation, right? And in an exam or a quiz, if it's small enough, we expect that you should be able to complete in good time. Thank you.